time. So I'll do a little introduction again like I did yesterday. Obviously we did do this recording yesterday and had some technical difficulties, so we're back again, trying again. So thank you, Greg, for agreeing to do this. We're going to have a little chat about supporting our parents during this lockdown time, and I think about the importance of play during it all, because I think it is incredibly important that we are facilitating that, not just to our youngest children, but right the way across the school. So Greg was due to join us in school for some CPD, but unfortunately the whole situation occurred. So we're getting you live via Zoom instead. So thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. And yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you. And like you say, one day I'll hopefully make it up to you.
Oh, good. We can't wait to welcome you in. We know we'll have lots of children in there. Well, to be fair, it's not the same anymore. Since we changed our approach in EYFS, I used to walk in and I used to have children hanging off my legs, didn't I, Mrs. Cayley, shouting Mrs. Phelps. Now they ignore me when I walk in. And I always say that is the sign of a good EYFS.
100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
we don't make the adult come into the room, it means they're busy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Our children are always so busy doing lots and lots of different things, aren't they?
Yeah, and Judith's actually doing that at the moment because as part of our sort of what we're offering to our vulnerable children and our key workers, we've actually split our EYFS children who are in that group off. And the difference already you can see, Judith, isn't it? The way they're working.
Yeah, we've just lost a car and we've just had to make a wanted poster.
Oh.
So the car, Iska's just made a wanted poster. So she's just scribed, we've helped her scribe. She's done a beautiful picture and we've just photocopied it and we're putting it around the school. Yesterday we did a story with one of the little boys. We've just done hopscotch and the little girl was doing it up to numbers to 10, and then she said, oh, I think I might just make it a little bit bigger. So she's extended the numbers to 20. So we've just all been playing hopscotch. Been brilliant.
That's what I want to come and do. It sounds fantastic.
Exactly. So, Greg, first of all, I think it's the conversation about that importance of play, isn't it? So can you sort of tell us what your feelings are about that importance of play, and especially during this current situation?
Of course. I mean, the thing with play, I greatly believe play is it's in our DNA. We were born to play. It's how, as humans, in fact, as animals, it's how we make sense of the world. It's how we learn social structures. It's how we make discoveries. Play is critical to our development.
Yeah.
It's not a choice.
No.
And you know, that was before COVID-19. It will be after COVID-19. It's central to child development. And it's been lovely just to kind of sort of see on your own social media some of the examples that you've been sort of sharing, where you can see that play is being embraced. And ultimately, my belief is that it's not just about play, it's about childhood. And now is the time to really focus on, it's like, you know, this whole thing is like a little bit of a reset button, I believe, on the way we have been as a society, and really how we value children and their ideas and their creativity. Because out of all of this, it's the group of 5-year-olds now, when they're older, who are probably going to be the ones to fix all of this along the way. You know? You know, or even, you know, your year 6s, you know, along the way, we're going to rely on not just the academic ability of children, but who they are as people. And my belief is that who we are as people is shaped through play.
I think that's really important there, bringing up our year 6s, because I think sometimes we do focus on that early end of school and think that children only play there. And I'm not saying that children in year 6 play in the same way, but we do have that sort of, we need to develop them as people and think, and even sort of, we've took this opportunity. My year 6 staff are amazing, and they've done some work with my year 6s, and it sounds about Photoshop, and you know, they're writing to MPs, and they're, you know, it's it's incredible but it's that open-endedness of it, of the things that we've been giving them. And I think that's really important.
I think you're right. I think it's why, like, I am a huge advocate of play, but really it is about thinking about childhood and when does that end. And so for parents watching this, it's a way of thinking, well, when do we feel that our children's childhoods end? And they don't end when they're in year 6. It might look, like you say, their play might look a little bit different. But it's still what I call the echoes of play. They still need to have creativity and choice and collaboration. And what's lovely, just in that example you've given, what you're clearly doing is you're valuing children. And it comes back to that. And hopefully at home, parents value their children. And hopefully in schools that happens. And really play is a way, if it's a little bit like an atom, like in the nucleus in the middle, and the parent and the teacher are going round the child, giving them energy and inspiring them and all of all of that.
And I think it's that, the way we work in our EYFS normally is obviously very much about, Judith will tell you more about this, but sort of they go home. We are very much planning in the moment led EYFS, so they bring in those experiences from home, and then we sort of play them out in school and take them further. But almost this situation sort of flipped that, hasn't it? So parents are trying to do this whole school job at home, but actually they don't have the balance because the children aren't coming into school as well. So it's difficult.
It's really hard. I don't think anyone would say that it's meant to be easy. It's challenging. Parents are trying to balance their own lives with their child's. We've lived for generations where the child goes to school. The parents have their time, if you like, to either do the chores that need doing or to go out to work. And it's not saying that children are getting in the way of that. It's just changed. It's different. And now we've kind of somehow got to juggle that. And that's probably one of the critical ones, that we often look outside of ourselves and see things going online or on social media where parents are posting things about how amazing everything is, and we can take that on board and feel bad about our own parenting. It's just natural, isn't it? We compare ourselves to other people. That is what we do. But it is about, and we kind of sort of touched on this yesterday, about this idea of you have enough within you are good enough. You are good enough with the resources and time that you've got. It's about making time as best as we can within the structures that we can put in. No one's going to give anyone a parenting medal at the end of this.
No.
It's about trying to do what you can.
Yesterday we talked about how some of my parents were able to go out into the outdoors and spend time with the children, and just by seeing the birds and the trees, and maybe going on a little bike ride, that they were having those different experiences, but using learning different vocabulary. But they were learning things by doing that, and they were spending time together, which is the most important thing.
And there's two words there that you've used, Judith, which are really important. Time. Time with our children is critical. This is an opportunity to have time with them, or to make extra time with them. When we're working, it's really hard, isn't it? And if you work 9 to 5, and if your job's quite physically demanding, when you get home, tea's on the table maybe, or you sat in front of the TV eating together, and then you as an adult needs to wind, to relax as well. Finding that time with your children can be really hard. That's not a criticism. It's just a reality of how we are culturally. But now we have got an opportunity. It's almost like trying to flip it a little bit and see some of the positives. I'm not saying it's not difficult. That's not what I'm saying. But just to look for the small corners of the day that we can find time together to share. And the other word you used was talk. And talk is massive for children. Children learn probably more from just having the opportunity to chat back and forth. Where what we can do is we can just go, and go and listen together, to go and experience, go for that, go for that bike ride, go for that little walk to the shop even. It might seem mundane, but if we're talking to children about what we're seeing, we're bringing children's attention to the world. And it's that's really important, in my belief. And sitting at home doing schoolwork, as valuable as that may be, it's the richness of being able to spend time together, co-playing, as I call it, is equally as rich, if not more so.
Yeah, I think it's when you see those opportunities, it's quite, and I know it, you know, trying to run school, then I come home and I've got Neve, and you know, I'm trying to do all the things, maintain the house, you know, then I've got work to do for school. So there's those times when Neve, and you know, she's in year 4 and she has really gone back to playing with figures and her dolls, and I love seeing it, but I think it's very easy when she's so engaged in it to just think, right, I'll do this now instead. I'll go and, you know, put the tea on, or I'll go and do this. So what would you say? How do we then start to engage with that child in play?
Okay, so I mean, there's 2 things there, because I would say there is children playing independently of us, by themselves, or with their siblings, if you've got a bigger family than one. I think that's really valuable. Children need to see that they can play by themselves, they can be bored and get themselves out of the boredom that they're in. That's a really critical skill for children. Sometimes what we try and do is overschedule children to avoid boredom, to occupy them all the time, but actually it's also really beneficial for them to kind of have those moments where they've got to try and pull themselves out of finding some, you know, and find something to do. That's a really critical skill for children. So that is valuable. But there are times when we can come together and we can co-play with them, and that can just be either wondering if, let's say that, you know, they're in the lounge and they might be drawing, or they might be building something, or playing with Lego, or playing a game, or playing with dolls. You might say to them, I often use the phrase, I wonder whether, now I don't ask them what they're doing. Let's say they're playing with a doll. I might say, I wonder whether the doll's hungry, or I wonder whether the doll would like something to drink. So what I'm not doing, I'm not asking the child, your child, I'm asking myself. And it can be a really effective way to hook into the play. And all of us have had a childhood along the way. All of us will have had games that we used to play. Hopefully we would have had some kind of, whether, you know, action men, dolls, little figures, toy soldiers. We've done that. We've got a memory of it. It's just that adult life, we forget it. And again, this is an opportunity to remember all the richness of our own childhood. And it's amazing. And it's about confidence. It might feel a bit awkward to begin with, but over time, as your child begins to see that you're great at playing, you know, to play with, and hopefully they already think that already, but they'll think it more so, they invite you in more into the play. And it's just about going with them. They, you know, all children on the whole have much better ideas than adults do. I think we could probably all agree. Because they've got magic, you know, which is why my second book, School and the Magic of Children, was trying to celebrate that idea of children have got something really deep within them that they're trying to share with us.
It's that imagination inside, isn't it, that they've just got it, and they just bring that out.
Absolutely. In a way, it's kind of flipping it. We in those moments of co-playing with your child, in a way, just if we can somehow just open ourselves up to allowing them to teach us, we haven't necessarily got to teach them. They've got a world that's going on up here, a world of magic to share with you. So that's what I encourage parents to do. But it's not, you know, it isn't necessarily easy, but the more you do it, the more you make time to do it, then, you know, and often it's about trying to create, and hopefully parents are already familiar with this, is the idea of just trying to, as best you can, try to form some kind of structure around the day, quite loosely, where the children know that they're going to be by themselves for a period of time, and then maybe, you know, then it's like, and then we're going to have some time together. The word let's is a really important word. Let us do it together. It implies that it's going to be me as the parent and then the child together. And it can be a really powerful thing to do, especially for things like tidying up. I used to do that in my own practice. I would say to the children, let's tidy up. Rather than you tidy up and I'm the adult that's going to stand here and watch you and nag you to do it.
We do that. Yeah.
You know, so it's like a team, because ultimately a family is a team.
Well, that's really funny actually, Greg, because since I came to St. Gabriel's, that's something we've really worked on, the idea of a team, that we are all in this together. And I see that as everybody who's involved with my school, not just the children, not just my staff, not just, you know, my parents, everybody. And we do everything on social media. We are Team St. Gabriel's, and it really is. And I do feel like it has brought us together. And it shows that one supports the other. And I think it's also that nobody's better than anybody. We're all on a level. And I think in play, actually, that's when, you know, the child will really feel on a level with a parent.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the process, often as adults, we think by the time, I'm going to give my age away now. I'm 48 years old. I know I look older. Everyone's like going, oh, you're only 48. I've had a hard life. But at 48, I haven't stopped learning. I'm not fully formed. I'm still trying to evolve my own thinking. And sometimes as adults, we think we get to the age of, say, 22 and we know it all. We think we've got it. You know, we know who we are. We know how the world works. But actually, we don't. We're always learning. And it's kind of, you learn as a team together. Which is wonderful to hear about. You know, it's like the school is a team. And I'm sure your parents do feel part of a team, because that's what is going to enable children, especially now, to be able to move forward. We talked a little bit, didn't we, yesterday briefly about this idea of trauma. Now trauma sounds quite dramatic, and there will be children that are going to emerge out of this who will just dust themselves down and off we go again, and they will be in inverted commas fine. There'll be other children that will look like they've dusted themselves off, but they're going to carry this for a long time, and it will pop up, won't it? Either in their behaviour or words they're going to use, or emotions or fears. But there will also be children that are going to be really quite scared to come back to school, potentially. And I don't mean your school, because I'm sure everyone can't wait to come back. I'm just talking generally. Just the fact of, you know, they've been at home with parents and family. And it's almost like, you know, and hopefully parents can remember this time when, you know, when you dropped your children off to kindergarten for the first time and you had to say goodbye, and your child was like going, oh, screaming, and, you know, you have to go, bye, everything's going to be okay. And actually, normally the parent is more tearful than the child. To a degree, some children are going to go through that process again, potentially. But that's where it's down to the skills that you've got as a team in your own school. To, you know, you'll have something nurturing waiting for them. It will just maybe look different, but the one thing that isn't going to change is your magic, Lindsay, and your magic, Judith. The adult magic doesn't change. You're not, you know, you're still there as the loving teacher and as the loving family, because that's what schools are going to need, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've already started looking at that idea of a recovery curriculum, and actually play is going to be essential to that, because there are some children who are going to play out what they are worried about through that, aren't they?
Absolutely. Play is a way for children to express themselves and find out about the world. That's what I was kind of sort of alluding to at the start of this chat. It's a critical tool. And if what we do is we bring children back, and again, this is just not about your school specifically, but if we are going to bring children back and we're just going to sit them at desks and now just get on, then what we're doing is we are not valuing what children are going to need. They're going to need playful moments. And yes, that might look different in year 6 as it does to early years, but it's still this idea of an echo of play, an echo of choice, and really the opportunity to talk. Talk is going to be huge now, bigger than it ever has been.
I think some of the children as well, that I think the ones I worry about, I always say when we see them, they're like ducks on the water, aren't they? They're just gliding along, but underneath they're frantically paddling away. And I think those are the children we really need to make sure that we're catering for, and that mental health strategy through all of this. I think a big thing with us is we've tried, you know, to keep in contact every week with our parents and our children, because, you know, we don't want to break that connection we have with them.
No. And I'm sure, you know, that's just lovely to hear. And you know, I'm confident that in your own school, you know, your parents know that if things at home emerge that they feel is a reaction to what's gone on, they know that you will be there to support them. You know, I'm sure they're confident of that. And it is to encourage parents, if they're watching this, to do that, to not, you know, there is no shame in struggling. There's no shame in your children struggling. I think that's really critical. It's, you know, we have to see that this is going to impact on children in multiple different ways. But it doesn't mean that you're failing as a parent, and it doesn't mean that the child is failing either. It's about almost opening ourselves up to the possibilities of what COVID-19 has kind of brought to children.
Definitely.
I've had that conversation with lots of parents, you know, every week, different parents talking to me about different things, you know, that they were worried about, that, you know, we've been able to talk it through, and to sort of get the children to, you know, to just be able to talk about things, basically. But, you know, some parents have been pretty much worried about things, and it's giving those reassurance as well that everything is okay, we're here for them, you know, and having those weekly conversations have been very beneficial.
Yeah, and that's lovely to hear, Judith. And I think the idea is that you're there as the adult. You're there. Your parents know that you know that relationship is there, and hopefully, you know, again, one of the positives is in all of this is that hopefully it brings the school and parents even closer together. You begin to value each other even more. I'm sure you value your parents a lot, but we can always do more, can't we, along the way? And naturally what we'll do is it will strengthen those links. What I would also say is that play, especially for our youngest children, but also, you know, going right up into year 6, and I would also argue into secondary school, play is waiting to give children what they need. Children find what they need in play. We may not know what it is, but play knows what it is. Play is like a therapy. You know, often playful approaches are used in therapy of trauma previous to COVID-19, but play is it's healing. And if you think your child doesn't need healing, that's okay. Play will give them what they need, if you know, but also play will unearth if they do as well, and it will also heal hopefully the children that do need it as well. So I would be actively encouraging you to continue that journey and that adventure into play, so that you're maximizing the opportunities and possibilities for children to sort of come out of this even stronger.
Well, I am a little bit of a geek when it comes to research and things, and very much everything we do in school, I love to have the research to back it up. So our new broad and balanced curriculum across school, very much sort of embedded with, you know, the development of the brain and schemas, and, you know, so that I've been reading this, Making Kids Cleverer. That's my my new Bible. However, what was really important last night, when it was quite funny after we'd spoken and I read it, it was talking about the importance of children doing things over and over again. There's obviously that sort of idea that actually if they do it through play, it sticks easier and, you know, for longer, and creates those schemas. So have you got some tips for parents about how you can maybe spark some play? Because screen time, I know it happens in my house, and do you know what? Neve needs it sometimes, and so do I, and it's fine. You know, we do it, don't we? Yeah. Netflix, we're all there. But I think it's, if your child isn't actively engaging in play, is the ways that we can sort of instigate it with them.
So just to go back one step about the screen time. No, because you mentioned screen time, and what I'm going to say was kind of, we'll link to the amount of screen time. There is screen time, and then there's screen time. There's screen time, which is bubblegum, which just, you know, sit yourself down, you're not present as the parent, and the child watches it so that you can get on. there is a value to that in terms of you've now got on, but we've just got to be careful what our children watch. And I don't mean that just as in watching things that are not appropriate for them. It's just as in what are they getting from it? If it's just so that you can get on, it's just, and there's not a criticism, it's just to ask the question. I'm not saying telling parents not to get on and do stuff, of course, but it's just to think. The other thing is with screen time is and hopefully parents know this anyway, so hopefully this is nothing new, but also to try to value that time where we maybe do watch something together, so that afterwards we can talk about it. So that, you know, because let's say, you know, I know, and again, I think we touched on this yesterday, so forgive me, but like, you know, I know, you know, information about the moon, but I don't know everything about the moon. So I could watch something where, so again, in my play, I might not bring up the moon, but there might be a program on the television where there's talk about, you know, space or whatever it is. So it's bringing extra information in and learning into the house, but it's what I then do with it. And to me, it's this whole idea of you can talk to the child in two different ways about the moon, or in fact, anything that they're doing. You can take it down a factual route about just genuinely just talking about the moon and what you know and what you would like to know, because hopefully, you know, it's things like, you know, how were craters made on the moon? What is the moon made of? I wonder how, you know, I wonder how they went about getting men. Has a woman been on the moon, by the way, on that? Has a mum ever been on the moon?
We've had a woman in space, haven't we? I don't think there's been a woman.
I don't think so.
No, that I know of.
I reckon if you start training in the next 5 years.
That's it, I'm going. There we go. I'll open a school on the moon.
You can have moon school, but that takes it down to the angle that the other one is the make-believe, make-believe route that you can then talk about. So hopefully you're familiar at least with my Play School TV approach, which is where
I was just going to ask you about that, Greg.
But we create stories. So in Play School TV, there's characters called the moon pins. And then you can talk about, well, what the moon pins are doing on the moon and why they come and visit Earth. Now, children know that they're not real, but they believe that it is real, if that makes sense. They know deep down it's not, but they do like to believe in it. And that can be a really cool way to connect with children, just to wonder about the story around things, if you like. So that's one angle. And on Play School TV, I do lots of messaging where we find messages, and messaging can be massive for children, really, really joyful. So one of the ways that I would encourage parents watching this is just to explore. If I just get a piece of paper, I'll just show you. This is the secret symbol there. You see that there? That's a secret symbol. And and by the way, you can change that. If you're not comfortable with the word secret, you can use the word mystery mark. That's the other way of doing it, the mystery mark. And if you just say to your children, let's say at home, I think I've just seen something in your shoe, and that's waiting for them in their shoe. Then what it will do is it's a really simple thing to do, because then you can start hiding these around the house and again you can make them you can turn them into mystery letters, words, sentences, depending on where your child, you know, like what phonics do you use in school?
We're letters and sounds.
Letters and sounds. So you'd use the word tricky words, would you?
Yeah.
So again, so this could be what I tend to do. So let's say if I've got a child that's still working on the word the, you'd have the secret symbol, and next it would be the secret word. And children engage in this a billion times more than just trying to learn this or reading it in a reading book, because it's been left by somebody. So it's got this element of mystery and finding it. And also then, I think I showed this yesterday about the magic mustard tin.
Yeah, I love that.
So the magic mustard tin, you don't, by the way, I don't love mustard this much. It was just, I just love the tin. And look, you can see it's on, I mean, even that as a conversation, look, with children, why is it like that on that side? Why is it like it on that side? And then you've got, you know, so obviously it's the sun, but like, just teaching a little bit about faded colours there, guys, sorry. But like but then it's like a thing that children will spot that they're different. But in the magic mustard tin, or it can be any tin or a bowl or just a simple thing that's got something you can put it in. Then things appear in it, like little secret messages or you know, little objects and stuff. And that's where you can begin this world of make-believe, which is what Play School TV is all about. And when you enter the world of make-believe, you can go anywhere. So even if you're at home now, you don't have access to a garden easily, or you'll find, you know, you're in a flat and you find that really tough. Adventure Island Play School TV does at least give you an opportunity to take your children on an adventure through the power of make-believe.
I just love it. How do you how could our parents get on to Play School TV?
Well, I can send you the link to share if you would like me to.
That would be brilliant.
Yeah, but it is on YouTube. If you type you can see hopefully on the video, you can see my name.
Yes, I'm watching it. It's brilliant.
You can, I'll just flash it up again so you can just see. If you type that in and look it on YouTube, there's about 60 episodes of it. But it's not about me. It's not it's about the magic of make-believe. And it's there just to try and inspire parents and teachers and children just to go on adventures. And if you like little dogs, I've got 2 little dogs on it, and I think
they're lovely little dogs. I love them.
Yeah. Although Bonnie never wants to come anymore. She just knows that we're going for a walk and start filming. So in the later episode, she hides.
We see, I'm the opposite. Normally when I do staff meetings or things like this, my 2 dogs appear and end up sat on my knee and join in with our school sort of staff meetings and things. So I've had to lock them away today. They're in the kitchen so they can't join in. So, but that would be brilliant. That's a really good idea. I said yesterday, I love your googly eyes as well. That is the eye bombing.
So you can, what you can do is you can put some little googly eyes. If you don't have these, you can just draw them and cut them out, and just a little bit of blue tack, a little bit of sellotape. Even if you haven't got that at hand, this is probably not great for COVID-19, but you could lick your finger. There you go. Spread the virus. But like, you could make the back of the paper wet and then stick it around. I'm just saying, if you don't have just because you don't have the resources doesn't mean you can't do it. As long as you've got a piece of paper and a pen, and it could be a scrap piece of paper, it doesn't really matter. And you can bring objects to life. It's called eye bombing. And if you've got you know, if you go online, you can, there's tons of examples of eye bombing. But children really they love it, because what you're doing is you're bringing inanimate objects into life, and then you've got the opportunity, if you want to, just to tell a little story about it. And children can really do respond to that. And again, when you use it with messaging, maybe the characters that you've made have left the messages that appear in the magic mustard tin, or in your shoe.
That's fabulous. The other thing that I'm a bit of a geek about, and I know when we talk to parents and things, this actually comes up quite a lot. So the other book I've been reading is this one, Boys Don't Try, and obviously it's very much about sort of how we, you know, look at that gap that we have between boys and girls. And I think it is very easy, isn't it, for a boy, you know, we do things for them, just, you know, and then we worry about that superhero play, that fighting play. What's your sort of perspective on that then, Greg? On
superhero play, superhero play is really important for children. It's important for all children. And in fact, in my own practice, yes, the boys loved it, but do you know what? The girls loved it too.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better than being better than boys.
Yeah.
But no, it's really important. It's role play, and children do it because they are familiar with it. They know about Spider-Man. They know about, you know, Superman, Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, all those different characters that they're familiar with. What they're doing is it is really valuable role play.
Yeah.
My thing used to be, I used to just talk with my children about what the parameters were for that. So how the rules of how we played it, and if a child didn't want to play it anymore or didn't want to do it at all, then they were not, you know, that we were not to go and make them do it, or, you know, or do it to them. It had to be an arranged thing. And my children were very comfortable with that, as long as we, you know, we just had a chat about it in a, hopefully, you know, like a grown-up chat, if you like, about play. What I tried to do though is, again, going back to these secret symbols idea and mystery messages, that was, which is like, it comes from my message center approach. The message center was critical to that. So the idea is that writing and words and secret messages and numbers are magical, and they make magic things happen. So if you read certain things or can write certain things or recognize certain numbers, then your superhero will have X magic, can become invisible, can go fast, because children latch on. They want their superhero to go fast, or be invisible. But if you just say to them, did you know that all superheroes have got a secret number on their capes, and it's this, and you tie it into numbers that you know that they don't know, then they will be 1,000,000,000% more inclined to want to learn, in inverted commas, through that way, than just come and do this with me, because you break the play, come and recognize these numbers. Well, children, you've just broken their play. And that's where I believe play and learning belong together. They absolutely belong together. And as best as we can, we've got to try and keep them together. Now, you know, over time it goes like this potentially, but the idea is at least we can try and keep them as best as we can. But that's my take on role play.
Definitely. And I think that's really important, because they're little things that you can do at home as well, isn't it? That whole, you know, just getting them in little like sections. It's funny, we were talking sort of the opposite way with my year sixes last week, and about boys playing with dolls, and I love it. I think it needs to happen, because how do we raise, you know, boys who are going to be the dads of the future if we don't from a very early age, you know, show them how we care for a child and things like that. So I think that thing of boys and girls needs to be very level. A child plays with what they're interested in.
Hugely so. And I think they also need to see it in the way that we you know, goes back to the idea of, again, I think I touched on this in yesterday's chat, but there's a really world famous approach to education, or call it approach, but the style of education called Reggio Emilia. And that was born out of in Italy after the Second World War. And that really valued children's language, if you like. What it did was it kind of sort of showed, one of the things was about showing how everyone, regardless, through play has a value. And one of the things in terms of value is the value of being a girl and the value of being a boy. And I was very keen to see it so that children saw that I, as a man, or as a dad, if you like, you know how kids do the kids call you mummy and daddy sometimes by mistake?
Lots of the time.
Once I got called granddad, and then I knew it was time to stop. But granddad's like, what? So the idea there is that children see that men and women can work together towards something positive. And to me, that's the most important thing that children can learn moving forward. Definitely. Is that they see us, that we can collaborate and we can be a team. Going back to your idea of the school being a team, well, you know what, men and women can be a team of equal importance. There's no, you know, we go back to this idea of no hierarchy. And, you know, that's in that early education is as best we can trying at least to model that.
Brilliant. Right. So before we finish, I just think I'm going to question both of you. Actually, I'm going to put you on the spot as well, Judith, because we've obviously been looking at our priorities for September and things for EYFS, but I think it's these top tips that you could give our parents at home. So both of you, what do you think? If a parent could do anything today to engage in play, what would be your tip for doing it? So, Greg, I'll come at you first. Go on, put you on the spot first.
Yeah, you have, haven't you? I started for a bit of right. So top tips, fine. So top tips for parents playing at home.
Yeah.
I would say, as best you can, starting today, to tell yourself as a parent that you're going to try and find within your day a chunk of time. So I'm not going to say how long it is, but a chunk of time to just be with your child and spend time with them, either chatting, reading stories, potentially stories that you, if you can, and I know it's not always easy to have a bank of books at home, but if you have got them, potentially trying to share books that you read when you were a child. It is about just trying to make that time with them, just for talks. Again, when we talk and play, things just pop up, don't they? Children say things, don't they, we're not quite expecting, maybe. So just that connection. So I talk about book snuggling, so snuggling with a book. One extra thing would be, if you're using screen time and you want to do something together, what can be truly amazing, and this goes back to what I wrote about in my second book, in School and the Magic of Children. There's a section about drawing club, something called Drawing Club, and what you do is you go back to the past and you watch programs, cartoons that you grew up with as a child. It's extraordinary. If you show children, sit down and just watch an episode on, you can access them on YouTube if you can get online. You watch together an episode of Wacky Races.
I love that.
Wacky Races.
Yeah. Or Jamie and his magic torch. I'm really showing my age now. But the simplicity, so it's the slow pacedness of animation. Or, you know, what was the one? What was the little? Oh, Batfink. You watched Batfink, yeah? So both of you have lit up now, talked about that. And the idea is, what you're doing is, then you just watch it, and you then just you just share your memories. Just chat about your own childhood. That's what I would say.
That's really interesting, actually, because two things there. One, I had a really long conversation in the staff room this week with two of my members of staff about programs that we remembered, and we were also talking about at school when we used to get this big TV wheeled out and they put in a VHS, and we were talking about, I don't know, well, it was always up here, there was Through the Dragon's Eye and Geordie Racer, and it was used to help us read and things, and we were talking for hours about it the other day about what those things, so it's really funny, isn't it? And I always remember when I started school, and I was doing half days, my school obviously at the time, in Redcar and Cleveland, we're very lucky because all of our schools have an attached nursery, and I know that's not the case across the country, like we do. And I used to do half days, and it was on an afternoon, and I used to watch Puddle Lane with my dinner before I went, and I used to just love it, and I used to remember walking to school talking to my mum about that episode of Puddle Lane, so maybe amazing. I need to watch that with Eve.
Puddle Lane. The thing is, there, what you're doing is, when you do that, when you have that experience, what you're doing is it's like pass the parcel. You are passing, because you both of you lit up them, and what you do is, I know, half an hour chatting to me, I know, you need all the joy. Like you're passing your joy onto your child. And what you're inadvertently doing, very subtly doing, you are distracting. But you're linking, but suddenly the world of COVID-19, Batfink doesn't recognise COVID-19, and neither does Puddle Lane.
No.
Do you know? So it's almost like you're kind of doing healing work. But but I'm not saying spend all day watching Batfink, by the way. That's not. Just if you're going to find time, maybe just have a think about it, because it can be.
That's a lovely, easy way in as well, isn't it? And where it takes you.
Right. It means you're confident.
Mrs. Cayley, come on, and Judith.
Right. Well, I think the most important thing that we need to do is we need to go at the child's pace. So whatever the time. If you're getting up in the morning and your child feels really sleepy, you could just go at that child's pace. You sit and you have a little snuggle together. You maybe sing some songs and some rhymes, because you know that I love rhymes and songs. Snuggle up and have a story, and then they might want to go out and do a little bit of play outside. If you're going out on your daily walk, like we have been, go out and enjoy the sunshine. If we do have the sunshine, play with a little bit of mud. That's absolutely fine. If your child gets dirty, if he wants to go and she wants to get in a puddle and splash in the puddle, it's all those resources that we've got at home that, you don't have to have extra things, you don't have to buy extra things, you use all the things that we've got. Baking in the home, all those lovely things, all those special things that you can get from that, all you can story scribe from it, you can you can get your maths, your literacy, all of that special vocabulary, the talking, you get everything from it. And I just think it's really important that you just go with the child. That's most important to me.
She is, I have to say, Mrs. Cayley does love a rhyme, Greg. And in fact,
Good.
when we did our St. Gabriel's Great British Bake Off, she made a very good cake based on 5 little speckled frogs and 5 little ducks went swimming one day.
Amazing. I feel like I need to come up at some point just to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can get them all on our Facebook page.
Oh, wow.
Recorded them. They're all over there.
Right.
And our prize was your second book.
So, well, there you go. Hopefully that wasn't the biggest prize then.
There we go. So, thank you so much, Greg, and thank you for doing this again.
You.
2 days in a row you've had to put up with us, but we really appreciate it. And I think there's some great conversation there that will benefit lots of people. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
And hopefully we'll see you in person soon at school.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, if you know, if and when all this, you know, when the opportunities arise, if there are parents in the school that would like to come and chat with me, maybe
that would be lovely.
Some kind of, you know, after school parental get together just to ask questions or hear me talk about other things, then I'm more than welcome. You know, I'm more than happy to do that. I've done that very effectively with other schools, and it's been really effective. So if that's something that you'd like to do and parents would like, then I'd be more than happy. Because
that would be wonderful.
One thing I love talking about is play.
There we go. We all it all made us smile. All of us have just smiled right the way through this, really, haven't we?
And I'm very excited about your Play School TV, that we could introduce it to parents as well.
Yes.
I think that's really important.
Good.
Brilliant. Thank you. Right. Have a lovely rest of the day.
Take care.
We'll speak again soon. Right.
Lots of love.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.